on Babylon is the great, for all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The king of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Sounds like America. Now this is the point I'm getting to. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. That's for believers. That's God telling the believers, go. Because if not, you're going to suffer. Because the ship is going to go down and you're going to go down with it. Hey, how's it going? Happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Doing my vlog. It's been a little bit since I made one. Actually, not that long. I think it was maybe a week and a half ago I did it. So I got some stuff I want to catch everybody up on. I'm excited to tell you about stuff I've been working on. And yeah, hey, before we get into it, do me a favor, drop a comment. Let me know that you were here, that you caught part of this, even if it's just for a few minutes. Just say hi. If it is your first time watching these, go ahead and post your city, your current city in the comments. I'd love to know where you're from. So what I want to talk about in this one is, I've titled this Leaving the Country. I got a trip planned. I'm not moving, not yet at least, but I have a trip planned in about a week or 2 weeks. And I'm excited. I'm going to tell you all about it, where I'm going and why. And catch everybody up on the whole polygamy journey. And the girl I'm dating comes back in 5 days from now from her country, so I'm excited about that. So just catch everybody up on basically everything that's going on with me professionally, personally and professionally. First off is I went ahead and printed some new t-shirts. I didn't print them. I actually just uploaded a design to my Teespring store, my merch store. I have a tiny merch store. I don't really sell much merch, but one day, hopefully I will sell more. But maybe you saw it. I had that Jesus is King bitch saying. Didn't get the best response from it, but I did get a few people tell me that they liked it, and I like it. And to me, if I like it and I'll wear it, then I think that there's other people out there that will wear it. Maybe not necessarily the super conservative Christians, but there are people that maybe the whole Jesus loves you message doesn't resonate with them. So I'm trying to cater to a different audience. So I uploaded those on my Teespring store. You can check it out. If anybody wants the link, I'll be happy to provide it in the comments. But I also today just created a Patreon account. So I'm very excited about that. I had a Patreon account once before, like several years ago when that video blew up. I think I created a Patreon account right after that, and I had 5 or 6 patrons. I never really pushed it that much, so I'm excited to do it again. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a site where creators can get people to support their work, and then in exchange, they can give them rewards in exchange for their support. I'm starting to talk a lot more about polygyny and polygamy, and I want to continue to get the message out, but I also want to be able to fund a lifestyle of some sort. So in the past, leading up till now, I created a lot of content around waiting, but I'd never really generated much money, which I was fine with because what it generated was people. People were finding the content and they were coming into the nonprofit. They were starting chapters. Those chapters were leading people to Jesus and bringing people to church, which was my heart. That was everything that I wanted to do. So it didn't matter if I made money. But as I've gotten older, I've also realized you got to take care of yourself too, because you can't function and perform at a high level if you're not being taken care of. Even Jesus says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So you have to love yourself too. So I created this Patreon account and I'm super pumped about it because it'll allow me to continue to create content, continue to do the podcast and some of the lives that I've done, the debate and other things. But it's also going to allow me to write a book. Pretty sure, I'm still praying about it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to write a book on polygamy. It's going to be called Sacred Unions, Making the Case for Polygyny. And I bought the URL the other day, polygamybook.com. Already thinking about it, anticipating that I'm going to do it. Yeah, that's my heart. I want to write another book. I think make it very similar to Why Waiting Works in that it'll be scientific studies mixed with the practicality of it, with my story, and then scripture. It's going to be kind of a combination. I really want to write a polygamy book for today's issues and today's problems that we're facing. The books that I've read on polygamy are usually pretty old, and sometimes they're not relevant necessarily to this culture, or at least to this modern times. So I want to write a modern day book on polygamy. So I'm still praying about it, but I feel like there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to go down that path. But I say all that to say, again, the Patreon account is created. If anybody wants to support me, I have levels starting at $5 and they go up to $100 a month. But in exchange for that, I give all kinds of rewards, access to all kinds of things. You can actually, what I'll do is I'll post the link here in the comments. If you're watching live and you want the link, just drop a comment and say patron in the comments, and I'll circle back and I'll send you the link directly. I'll private message it to you, or you can just private message me with the word patron, and I'll know what you want. But yeah, there's everything from one-on-one calls to access to coaching courses. I have a Telegram community that I created where everybody can meet and talk. And it's just going to provide a place for people of like minds to gather and meet each other and just build relationships and share ideas, share resources even. So I think it's going to be super helpful because people that believe this, what I now believe about polygyny, and that God's okay with it and he was never not okay with it, you're out there on an island. There's not a lot of people out there that believe what you believe and really even support you or even be okay with you believing it. They don't even, not necessarily they don't believe it too, but they don't even want you to believe it. We don't want to hear you talk about it. We don't want to be around you if you believe that. So I've seen a lot of loneliness out there amongst people that follow this way of life, and they're shamed or stigmatized. And I want to provide a place for them to meet, build community, and hopefully just enrich each other's lives. Patreon.com/biblical polygyny is the URL if you want to know where it is. My goal is to build it up to a couple hundred patrons. Hopefully I can earn around $1,000 a month. That's my goal, is over the next year to see if I can build it up to making $1,000 a month. And that would enable me, at least partly enable me, to continue making content and getting the truth out there to the world, because I feel definitely a burden for this message. People think that I'm crazy, I lost it. I can assure you that's not the case. God is leading me to talk about this, and I know it's unpopular and I know how it looks. It doesn't change the fact that I'm not wrong. Patreon.com/biblical polygyny. But that being said, some people have questioned my motives in doing this. Not only question my sanity, but they question my motives. Oh, you're just trying to make money off of this or whatever. I'm like, I can assure you if I would have wanted to do something to make money, it wouldn't be talk about polygamy. I think I lost the Hallelujah Hoedown. I'm not going to be affiliated with it anymore because of the unpopularity of what I'm talking about. And I totally understand where my partner is coming from on that. My social media engagement has fell off of a cliff. My book sales, the books I was selling on Amazon, the few I sold, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 a month, they've basically stopped. So it definitely hasn't helped my income or my popularity. But again, doesn't mean that I'm wrong, and I'm okay with taking an unpopular stance, let's say. What do I want to talk about now? I want to talk about this coaching program that I've launched recently. I want to talk about how that's going. I want to tell you about this trip that I'm getting ready to go on and why I think it's very interesting. And yeah, but before I do me a favor, looks like we got about 15 people on here right now. Drop a comment, say hello. Thanks, Tony Martin, for that. It'll help more people see this video, and it'll also let me know that you were here. Again, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. So just to recap, the Patreon account is created. I got the new t-shirts up on the merch store, and I got the Patreon account created. If you want links to either, I will post those after I do the live, so be on the lookout for those, or you can private message me. But I did launch a coaching program a couple months ago for guys that were in my Facebook group, or they were just following me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. And it's single guys who want to be married. They believe in polygyny, they believe in biblical marriage, but they can't find women to get on board with that, basically. They can't even find one woman, so much less two wives. So I designed a course to really help men level up, Christian men, and the guys are having a lot of success with it. One guy in particular, one of the students that I'm working with, it's getting to be too much. So he had basically very little options before with women, at least with this, expressing that this was his truth, that this was what his belief was. But now he's talking to multiple women that are at least open to the idea. So I'm pretty excited about it. I do feel like not only am I able to help guys cross the finish line and find wives, but I'm also encouraging them to wait to have sex until marriage in the process, really respecting the girl and her boundaries. And I do think it's the thing that will do the most amount of good in the world. So I'm really excited. So it's called the Man of Options. Actually, it was called the Alpha Man Blueprint. And I also was calling it the Man of Options. I like the Man of Options better, so I'm going to go with that. But it's really just about getting in great shape, getting your vision clear, having a plan so that you can accomplish it, reverse engineer how you're going to get there. I think that's one of the biggest things that will attract women is a man who's driven. If he's ambitious and he's going after something, he's putting a dent in the universe, women are attracted to a man like that. So I help them get really clear on that. I help them get their diet and their exercise routines in place, get their dating app set up. I have a whole strategy for how to bring this topic up in a very frictionless way, because it can be weird to say, oh, by the way, let me tell you, I believe in this really unpopular thing. So no, I have a way to bring it up that's actually very frictionless and helps you set the frame, set the tone. Basically what I'm doing is that if there's any guys out there that see this video and you want to jump on a call with me, I'm doing free 15-minute consultation calls with any guys that want to talk more about the program. But it is designed specifically for men who believe in biblical marriage, and who may want to exercise that, meaning they want to get married to a first woman with the right to take a second or more in the future if they so choose, and that woman, that first wife, will not leave them. They will not divorce them because that was the agreement. So those are the men I want to work with specifically. So drop me a message. If you drop a comment, say call. I'll send you the link to book the call, or you can private message me if you don't want people to know that you want to jump on a call with me. Private message me and we can jump on a quick call. Everybody that jumps on the call, I'm sending my 10-step guide. It's called Pathway to Plural Marriage. Biblical 10-step guide to finding biblical love online. It's a mouthful, right? Pathway to Plural Marriage. It's a 10-step guide to how to use dating apps and social media to find prospects, to find potential women to marry. So again, it's really easy to follow though, and it's getting great results. Actually, let me read you one of the messages that one of the guys sent me. So this is one of the things, I asked him to write me a testimonial. He said, Rob has helped me significantly enhance my dating life by dialing in my dating profiles. I've ended up with more women to talk to than I care to deal with far less effort than I used to put into dating apps. Multiple women I'm talking to still want to date me or get to know me better despite knowing I want polygyny. But this is more than just dating coaching, it's life coaching, and it has brought together an outstanding group of men who are committed to building and growing to incredible levels in their lives. And where's another one here I wanted to read you? He said, this is a message that he sent to the other guys in the program. He said, if y'all are hesitating about polygyny because you're concerned not enough women are interested or open, I wouldn't let that hold you back. Following Rob's coaching, I'm talking to plenty of women, and he put in parentheses, guys, for the first time in my life, it's getting to be too much. And several of them are interested despite or because of my stand on polygyny. It's not the near universal deal breaker we might assume. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited that what I'm doing for the guys is adding value. And I do think, like I said in one of my former videos, we got to make marriage great again. We got to get people married. Get them to get together and stay together. That's how you're going to fix everything. Not everything, but I think that's going to fix a lot. And with the way things are going in America right now, people are going to need to be linked up. They're going to need to be with other people. Women especially are going to need to have men. I made a video, I don't know, a few days ago where came across some clips from Joe Rogan's podcast where two different people were talking about what's going on with China. Brett Weinstein maybe, and then Dr. Phil. Both of them were talking about the southern border and how it's all these Chinese military age men are coming through our southern border. And like Dr. Phil said, it's not that easy to get out of China. You can't just go, hey, I'm going to go to America and go on a vacation. They're a communist country. It's not just like you can take off and travel. And we had 37,000 of them come through, I think, just this year, just Chinese. And I talked about this many times in lives before where I got a prophetic word from God 24 years ago that we were going to go to war with China. So when I saw these clips, I'm like, whoa, shit. It just got me antsy a little bit. Dare I say worried? I don't worry too much, but it definitely got me thinking because I was like, this is what God told me 24 years ago, and here it is. We got all these Chinese people coming through. Is that how it happens? I don't know. I booked a trip to Costa Rica with my girlfriend, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I guess it's been now, and we were going down there, number one, to get away a little bit, just to be together, spend some more time together, to continue feeling each other out, to see if we want to continue to move forward. Which I think we do. It's looking pretty good. Again, we've only spent 6 weeks around each other, so this will give us more time to spend together. But we also want to look at opportunities. Like I'm thinking like as things continue to disintegrate and deteriorate in America, like I want to have a backup plan potentially. To see the way the country's going, I used to love America. Not to say I don't love it anymore, but I don't love it the way I used to love it. And I definitely don't think that I could be just as happy somewhere else as I am here, or maybe a lot happier. We're going down to get away, spend some time with each other, but also look at possible opportunities for maybe buying a house, buying some land, renting a house, buying a business. I was actually even online yesterday Googling intentional communities. I was Googling intentional Christian communities. So intentional communities is like a term, popular term that people use for like people that get together, they live together intentionally. It's almost like a commune. It sounds, some people, small-minded people, I'm sure would say it's a cult. But if you go to ic.org, you see these things are all over the globe, these intentional communities. It's people living together in some kind of shared space, working together, sharing resources, maybe farming the land. So I was searching that yesterday and I came across, so usually it's like people that are into like yoga and like healing medicine, whatever, like earth medicine, but there's not a lot of intentional Christian communities. So I came across this one yesterday where these people are trying to get Christians together that want to move to this island in the Caribbean called Dominica. It's actually south of Puerto Rico, not the Dominican Republic. That's what I thought he was talking about. But it's another island called Dominica. And I spent an hour on the phone with the guy. I reached out to him. I responded to his blog or forum entry, whatever it was, on this website. And he messaged me back with this long email. And I we end up getting on the phone and talking for an hour. And it's really wild what they have going on. They're looking for Christians that want to get the hell out of the country and want to start a community in another country. And like I don't want to say it's a third world country, because I don't know if Dominica is a third world country or a second world country. But if you Google it, the island of Dominica, it's freaking gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. And one thing the guy said stuck out to me, because he said, since I put up that post, man, I've had so many people reach out to me. Now, this guy, he lives in Pennsylvania. He's an ordained minister. I think he was ordained through the Lutheran Church. But he's got real strict stances on things. Like, he doesn't care if it's not popular. So, like, I think he got canceled or fired from his church because I think maybe someone in church leadership had a family member that was in a same-sex relationship. And I don't know, maybe he said something about it. I forget what it was, but it was something like that. So he's a pastor, he's ordained, and yeah, they're looking for Christian families and people to move down there, and they're going to build houses, they're going to buy land, build houses, they want to build a school, they want to build maybe even a university, but definitely like a clinic. But when I looked it up, the place is like paradise. It's really beautiful and it's super cheap. And he sent me this message, I'll read it to you, because I had never heard about it. And again, I've been thinking about doing something like this, but I was really thinking about Costa Rica, because I think one thing about Costa Rica is Costa Rica has more expats than any country in the world. So if you might not know that, but there's more ex-Americans living in Costa Rica than there is any other country in the world. A lot of ex-Americans have moved down there, and I've been several times myself. And one thing I like about Costa Rica is everybody speaks English. It's safe. There's no military. It's like a very chill way of life. It's beautiful. It's relatively inexpensive. It's gotten more expensive, but it's still relatively inexpensive. So I like Costa Rica for those reasons. And let me go back to what the guy said. The guy said, since I posted this message on this forum, I've had so many people reach out to me. And I said, yeah, no shit. I said, because people like me see what's going on in this country. They see what's coming down the pipe, and they're wanting to get the fuck out of Dodge, but they don't know what to do. Right. So I know I'm not the only person feeling this way. That people, all the division and all the fighting, and then the border shit and the economy and the fucking clown show in the White House. Like, people see what's going on and they're like, now might be a good time to leave, but they're not really sure where to go. Like me, that's me. I'm in the same place. That's why I was looking, is there any Christians living in Costa Rica? Let me find out. Maybe I can go there, buy a house and live with them. So when I came across this guy, I was very intrigued by what he's got going on. And I wasn't surprised to hear that a lot of people have reached out to him since he posted this thing. I want to read this to you. He said, Dominica has no military, just a few police. You can get registered firearms, even tactical stuff. Cannabis is legal to grow on your own land. We tolerate it, but also it's part of the culture there with the Rastafari population. Abortion and homosexuality are illegal. People still spank their kids, even in school. And all the schools and government institutions open with Bible reading and prayer. Homeschooling is basically unregulated. Likewise, our money does well on exchange rate, 3-to-1, and bush medicine is still widely practiced. There is almost no crime except petty stupid stuff, but cohabitation is on the rise and people aren't having kids like they should. Obesity is growing due to our imports, talking about American imports. Historically, Dominica has held the record for most people alive over 100 years of age per capita. Dominica is not perfect, but it's beautiful, free, fertile, the opposite of crowded, non-corporate, religious, and has real economic potential. It's a Christian homesteader's paradise, arguably the best in the world. I was like, I'm sold. Now, I'm not sure for real if I'm sold, but I'm definitely looking into it. I'm definitely going to pray about it. I'm going to do my due diligence and see what's going on. But he mentioned that you can buy an acre of land in Dominica for about $20,000, and you can build a concrete home, like a dome. It's this hurricane-proof concrete dome for $15,000. It'd be very primitive if you were to go that cheap. Obviously, it's not going to be a super fancy place, but just a shelter. This guy that I talked to that told me about this was a homesteader. So he lives off the land. Him and his wife, he's got like 6 or 8 kids, I forget. And he just basically has chickens and works farms and whatever else, but like solar panels and homesteading. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm looking into all that. There used to be this show that I used to watch on Fox back in the day. It was called Terra Nova. I don't know if any of y'all ever saw it. I'm getting canceled. But I love that show. And there was just something about... So basically the premise of the show was, it was these people, okay, they were living in this world where it had gone to shit. They couldn't breathe the air. It was just real bad living conditions. I don't even think like fruit was available. And they found this like wormhole. Somehow they find this wormhole and it goes back to like Earth. But it wasn't really Earth, it was like Earth. But it was like 1 billion years ago or 1 million years ago. So they're able to send people back, but they can only send so many people back every year. And they formed this colony in this land called Terra Nova. That's what they called it. So they had this town, but there was like dinosaurs there and some other weird shit going on. But it was really cool because it was like paradise. It was like this gorgeous world that was untouched, just raw Mother Earth, beautiful. and then you have these people from the future living there trying to make their way. And I was like, it reminded me of that show. I used to love the show because I don't know what it was. It was just like I was really attracted to that back then. This was like 12 years ago. I love the idea of living in a community like that in such a beautiful place with modern amenities. But so when I saw this, it was like, wow, it really reminded me of that. It made me wonder why I liked that show so much. Was God trying to tell me something back then? So I don't know. If I was to do it, I would want to buy some land. I definitely would want to live in community with other like-minded people, Christians, for sure, but also not super religious Christians because they don't like me and I tend not to get along with them so well. So believers, but not religious believers. And I would love to just, get married to one or more women and maybe have some kids and get out of Dodge before the shit hits the fan. One of the things that the guy mentioned to me, and I'll read this to you, he was talking about Revelations 8, and he said, I'm going to read this to you. It says, "Fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling for demons and a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird, a haunt for every unclean and detestable animal." Okay, forget that. Actually, it says, "Fallen Babylon is the great. For all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. The king of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries." Sounds like America. Now, this is the point I'm getting to. "Then I heard another voice from heaven say, 'Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues.'" So this guy's, look, that's for believers. That's God telling the believers, go, because if not, you're going to suffer, because the ship is going to go down and you're going to go down with it. So I was like, yeah, that's a great point, because that's exactly what I've been feeling, is I'm like looking at the way we're quickly going over the cliff, America. And I've been saying this, the two things God told me: war with China, collapse of the economy, the dollar's going to collapse. When that happens, that's when hell's going to break loose, because people are going to literally be hungry, right? So what will happen? Crime. I don't know what else. I don't know. I don't want to be here necessarily. Now, look, I would stay. If God told me, stay in the country, I want you there for whatever reason. Maybe he wants me in the middle of the eye of the storm, maybe in the middle of the shit show to help somebody. Fine, I'll stay. But I don't want to stay. If it's up to me, I'd rather go to Costa Rica or go to some beautiful tropical island and be around some other people that have my best interest in mind and also think like me. And I can not have to worry about the grocery store being closed, supply chains, and all the shit that they're potentially scheming to put on us, force us to, who knows what kind of mandates they're going to come with next. I could just provide for myself. I could grow my own food and raise my own chickens and whatever else. Now, I would still want technology, though. Like, I would want to create a podcast area to do my podcast and create content, because I still have to get the message out. But I certainly would enjoy doing it in a place like that far more than good old Brooklyn, Baltimore, Maryland. But we'll see. But I did think that was interesting, that verse, because he really made a point there. "Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins and receive any of her plagues." So I was like, and he also quoted another verse, which was, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty." So I'm like, yeah, the prudent see danger and they take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. So I think a lot of people see the danger right now, and you're just continuing to keep going, oh, maybe it'll work itself out. So for me, I've been preparing. Like, I don't know that I'm doing everything that I should be doing, but I got a healthy food pantry. I got a loaded shotgun. I got no debt. I got a bunch of silver that I've purchased, started accumulating over the years. And by the way, if anybody needs to know how to do that, I have a great silver supplier with low fees and reliable. You can private message me if you want his information. Silver is going to go up a lot. I don't know if you see what's going on with crypto right now, but crypto has shot up. Like, I don't even know what percent, 40% or something. It was at $20,000 like a year ago. Now it's over 60. Bitcoin is 62 or something last time I checked. So all these commodities are going to continue to rise as the dollar goes down. But silver, precious metals, is going to be something that you need to be invested in. You need to have a percentage of the money in silver, because with cash, you're guaranteed to lose it. With inflation, you're guaranteed to lose it over time. So don't keep large amounts of money in cash is what I'd recommend. But guys, this is nothing new. This is what I've been saying for a long time. Everything that I'm talking about is for the most part the same. The only thing that's different is polygyny. It's the only thing that's changed in my message. There's a verse, and I challenge any Christians out there to go look this up. It's Isaiah 4:1. And it's a future prophecy, because it's talking about the second coming. It's talking about the day of the Lord, Jesus returning. And it talks about, in that day, 7 women will take hold of one man. And let me read it to you. "In that day, 7 women will take hold of one man and say, 'We will eat our own food and provide our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name. Take away our disgrace.'" That's a future prophecy. So anybody that talks about shit about polygamy or polygyny, explain that, because that is a future prophecy where things are going to get so bad in the world that 7 women are going to go to one man and say, hey, please take away our disgrace. Marry us. We'll provide our own food. Just please give us your last name. How do you explain that? That's a future prophecy, because again, right after that, it talks about the day of the Lord. Jesus coming and says, let me read the Isaiah 4:2 just so you get some context. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Again, the branch of the Lord be beautiful. So he's talking about Jesus. Okay, so again, explain that if you think I'm wrong. Kimberly Walsh. Anybody, feel free to drop any questions. I'm going to stay on here for another minute or two. I talked about a lot of different things today. If you want to know about anything, let me just recap real quick. I have new t-shirts, Jesus is King, bitch, on my merch store. I know, again, maybe not a fan favorite, but I think I actually think it's really cool. I like it. It makes a statement. Definitely get some conversations started. And if you like to serve your faith with a side of sass, then it's a good shirt for you. Okay, my Patreon account, I would love your support. I have levels starting at $5, $10, $20, $50, and $100. And I give all kinds of perks. Even at any of the levels, what I give in exchange for that little bit of money is well worth it. So I'm going to post the link to the Patreon. I would love for your support, because I do have to continue to get this message out, but I also want to be able to get married and put food on the table. So this is going to be my way to do that, and it's going to be my way to write the book. I got a coaching program for any guys that believe what I believe and they want to get married. But look, some of the guys in the program, let me just say this real quick. Some of the guys in the program, they just want one wife. They just want to get married under monogamy. And that's fine too. I can help you do that. But I originally put the course together for men that believed what I believe, but they can't find one wife under polygyny because they don't know how to broach the subject, or maybe they don't even got their shit together. Maybe they're not in good shape. Maybe they don't have a clear vision. There's a number of things that I'm helping the guys with, but I am helping guys that also believe in monogamy. So if you want to know more about the coaching, you can private message me. And I'm going to Costa Rica in, I think, about 2 weeks? About 2 weeks. I'm going to be there for a month. So I'm going to see about opportunities, and I'm also exploring this Dominica opportunity because we'll see. I'm looking for an intentional Christian community in a beautiful tropical place to potentially make a move to, or at least have it as a backup plan. Like maybe I'll just buy a piece of land and build a house, or rent a house and sublease it out on Airbnb, or it's just something so that when the shit hits the fan, I go, that's my plan. I'm going there, right? I'm gonna hop on it. But the thing is, here's the danger in that. Who's to say you'll know? Right? Let's say we go to war with China. It could be a sneak attack. We could a bomb go off, or a EMP, what do they call it? You just can't get on a plane now. You're stuck. That's real, right? That could very well happen. Like I said earlier about the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Like I feel like the writing is on the wall, and we're probably pretty close to something happening. And I don't know that I want to be here for it when it does. So I'm looking into it. But if anybody wants to know about that opportunity, you can private message me, or you can just drop the comment community, and I'll try to get you more information about that as I'm looking into it myself. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, to me, that would be a dream if it actually came together. Now, I don't know if that's what God wants for me. Again, maybe he wants me here, but I'm definitely looking into it. If I had to choose, that's what I would like. I would love, if my community right now isn't where I want it to be, like as far as my number of friends and the depth of my friendships. So I'd like to figure that out, and I feel like this might be a way to do it. There's some really cool intentional communities. If you go to that org website, you really see some communities out there that they're not necessarily, most of them aren't Christian. I don't think I actually did see any Christian ones, but there's some really cool places you can live, and there's some really cool environments. There was this one called Pachamama in Costa Rica, and they have yoga, and they have a shaman come in and do a seminar, and they have really healthy food, and the people live in these huts. And I was like, oh man, that sounds nice. Like they have a stage where people do different, I don't even know what they do there, entertainment of some sort. But it was really cool. It was really cool. It really reminded me of that show Terra Nova, without the dinosaurs though. But it almost reminded me of the movie The Beach. Did you ever see The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio? But modern, like a little bit more modern. They weren't living in like that. But anyway, I'm looking into it. So I'll keep you all posted. Polygamy allowed in Costa Rica. And I don't know, Kimberly. I'm not going to get married under the government, so I don't really worry if it's allowed. I'll get married in God's sight, in God's eyes. And that to me is way more serious than getting married with the government, and it's not illegal. But the same government that tells me that 2 men can get married, I don't need them to tell me that I can get married. I don't need their endorsement. Yeah. Now, and honestly, if they really want to try to enforce that, they'd have to go out and arrest every man that had a mistress. You know what I mean? Every man that had a side chick or was having sex, and they're not going to do that. So yeah, the only way they could get you on that is if you actually got government wedding licenses with two different women, which I would never do. So anyway, that's it. Don't think there's any other questions on here. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you later.